black people are just scared to still tell our children that there are a group of people out here that are your enemies.
Join us every Monday at 12 noon for Black by Demand radio show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange Live.
The Artist Exchange. The Artist Exchange.
The Artist Exchange.
Starts now.
Hey, what's up, and welcome to the Artist Exchange Radio show live only on BeExposedRadio.com. I am your host, Mr. Couser, and I am here. Today is the last day of August for me, and for the last show for the month, rather. And I'm here just on the last day for the self-care unit, and I'm mad because I went to post something and I didn't finish, so in the next segment I'll do 7 things that being difficult or aggressive or what was the other word? I forgot the other word that I used, but 7 things that being aggressive is not. I was in a conversation with 2 different people in the last week and a half, and I was called difficult and aggressive by both of them for 2 different reasons. And when I let them speak, because I no longer argue with people. I'm not gonna go back and forth with you. I'm gonna let you get out what you need to get out. Make sure you got it out good. I'm gonna speak my piece, and then it's over. I'm not going back and forth. There's no resolving an issue with somebody who has a clear or thinks they have a clear definition of who you are and why you are. So I don't seek to change people's mind. I just know who I am, and I've gotten really comfortable in knowing that, and I really am satisfied with that. So to end out, hey, Miss Curry, who's that? Wanda, Trinity LQ, Cousin Fayon, welcome to the show. And I'm at a space where it's not that I don't care about what people think, or I'm not concerned with it, but I'm not going to wrap myself up in a bow of delusion or chaos because it makes you comfortable. And I've spoke about this over the last maybe 2 years since I first heard it about myself. And I guess when I've really started to enforce the word no and boundaries into my life. And that's what those 7 things were that I'm going to bring up next segment because I forgot to post it before I got here. But in those last few years, and I'll say this in my 30s in general, I've heard it more so in different ways from different people, but these people often seek to get something from me or get me to do something that I don't normally want to do. And I realized prior to that, I would find a way to get them what they want without kind of harming myself or kind of going against what I really want to do, so I'll find somebody else to do it. Or I just would do things because I was a helpful person. I am a helpful person, but there comes a time when you have to start setting boundaries, hopefully more sooner than later, because later means I've gone through the problem. Sooner means I've avoided the issue and I've gotten through it. But it is really, I'm trying to find healthier ways to, one, teach this, because I do teach theater and I have to give them the full story versus just acting techniques or the history or the lecture or what have you in art or theater, but I'm trying to give them the full circle because many of these young people are looking at are looking at, TV, and they want to be artists, and they want to be, what can I say? They want to be in the entertainment world, and they don't really understand all that it takes. Any profession that you go in, you have to have a level or a certain brand of self-care that you have to apply. Like for me, being a full-time teacher and a teaching artist, I have to be in bed between 9:30. 10 o'clock is pushing it, but by no later than 9:30, I have to be in bed. I know this about myself because I have to get up at 6 a.m. So my body does not respond to alarms of any nature. On my phone, on the clock, on the TV, it doesn't respond. Normally my eyes, if I sleep in, is because I see sunlight. And if I don't get to bed on time, that's when I'm gonna get up. And that's not good because sunlight, we all know, comes after after the bell is supposed to be rung. So I normally have to be in my school by 7:30, 7:45 at the latest. So I have to get in bed so I can casually get up at 5:30, 6 o'clock and get it together and get out the house so I can be to work on time. And it is, I've tried it. I know my body. I know my internal time clock, and I know what type of time I need. I need at least 7 hours of sleep. I need some good straight sleep, not get up and go to bed. I need to sleep. But that's part of my self-care routine, getting to bed on time and figuring out ways that I can be in bed all night. And I maybe can stay up maybe a little bit later once or twice a week, but if I do that throughout the week, I'm done. And then the weekend I have to crash to kind of make up for that, and I just know my cycle. And there are plenty of things that I do depending on what it is, whether it be preparing for the show, or if I'm in rehearsals, or if I'm actually doing a production, or if I'm hosting the event, or I'm at one of my other jobs. I know the routine that I need. And sometimes people don't get it. And one of the things that has been getting me into conflict lately is my phone. I have a rule now. I do not charge my phone up after I get in the house. So whatever percentage my phone is, I try, wherever I leave somewhere, I try to charge my phone up as much as I can, because after that it's dead. If it dies, I try not to let it die while I'm home, because then, I need it to get to work in the morning. So if it goes under a certain percentage, I always turn it off. So some people who are used to being able to reach me or call my phone and get me can't do that as easily as they can. Or I don't respond to certain types of messages. If you're asking me a question, I respond. If you're telling me something to inform me or to remind me, I don't know. So I'm trying to set healthier boundaries for myself, because I can't be accessible. Nobody's paying me to be on call. So therefore, I have to set healthy boundaries and restrictions for my time, for my energy, for my talent, for myself. And I'm okay with that. And anybody who doesn't understand that, I'm really not concerned beyond one conversation to explain it to you. And that's if you're somebody who I really care about. Anybody else, you just go ahead to get the message however you get it. Self-care has become very important to me because I let myself go in terms of allowing people to be in my time that did not deserve it, that did not care about how it was affecting me. And I'm okay with shutting people out and allowing myself to be misunderstood. I'm okay with that because I can't be affected by what people think about me. And the moment I start to do that will be the moment that I go back to where I just came from. And I had to let go of the anger and the frustration and being misunderstood and people telling me they don't understand me, and realizing that they choosing not to understand me because they're not getting what they want out of me. I've had and I guess today's topic is based off of just uh, interpersonal interpersonal relationships as it pertains to self-care. And we talked about relationships, but it was relationships in general. But this one is more so those work relationships, personal friendship relationships, romantic relationships, and family relationships, and just that dynamic, and just your relationship to what you do, your job. I've had to learn how to be assertive in my no's and in my responsive, be respectful, but I had to learn how to be more assertive in those things. Going to a workplace environment and it's not set up in a way that is comfortable to me and that is conducive to me being able to get what I need out of it and be effective in what my responsibility is, I speak up now. Anytime I would just make it work. And I am at a space where I'm tired of making it work. I should be comfortable. I should be able to step into an environment, and things aren't going to be perfect. But if you find that there are people in your life that are throwing monkey wrenches in, it's time to get rid of them, or that place, that thing, that ideal, that thing in you, that habit that is throwing those monkey wrenches in there and making it difficult. Because that's not the plan. Nobody should be making stuff difficult. Life is already difficult on its own, and we should be at a space where we're not having to deal with that. And where I'm at, I've already dealt with that a lot. I've had the friendships, the relationships that did not last, that were not conducive to me moving forward with us. And I had to sever ties romantically, friendships, and unfortunately some family members. And a lot of those are things that will be recovered, but I needed to get me in a space of being comfortable with me being this person again. Me being this person that's not going to accept whatever you throw at me and you expect for me to just make it work. Funny story, when I first started, I think we got a couple minutes left. Hey Quentin, just getting into it, but in me starting to make jewelry, one of my things was I wanted to be a sustainable jewelry designer and using more recovered pieces than I went out and paid for to make jewelry. And I remember people used to bring me, I've been given a left shoe before. I've been given just like whatever you just would normally throw away, people, or discard it, people would bring to me and ask me to make something like gorgeous out of it. And I had gotten really good at doing that. Of course, I couldn't use all the pieces, but I would mix things that I had, or I would go out and get a piece or buy things and kind of make those things come alive again. And I've done workshops and jewelry making parties like that. But when it came to my life, I can't make things work like that. You can't bring me the shittiest parts of you and expect for me to make this magic out of a relationship. And I'm the only one working at it. It's just things that I'm not willing to settle for anymore. I'm not willing to deal with years of neglect on your behalf for your personal self, and then you aren't, thank you, and you're expecting for me to then make this marvelous relationship out of it. No, I need for you to go get fixed, and you to go mend those broken pieces, and then we can think about moving forward and making something great out of our relationship. But until then, I'm working on me, you doing whatever you're doing, so that means we're separated. And I'm fine with that. And I hope that you grow fine with that, and then you realize your hand at this, just like I had to step back, and once everything was silent, I could hear better, I could see clearly, and things sounded better to me. So Quentin says, I'm here just a short time on it, bruh, peace. Thank you, Mr. Quentin, and hopefully one day I can get you on the show and you can share what it is that you do and who you are. And I am going to take a quick commercial break. I'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Start, I be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I be up in the way. 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 Bedroom phone ring, girl in t-shirt answers me. I get off on the way that she answers me. First time saw her, I knew she was the one for me. Ever since then, we've been vibing on some chemistry. It's just a matter of time. I know she feeling my vibe. I got the keys to the ride. She put her hands on my thigh. She got that look in her eye. SL what I'm riding. Royalty, call me highness. All day and overnighted. Cause it's crunch time when I'm grinding. This Adderall got me nauseous. Proceed with caution. Tired of lanes, I'm exhausted. Poppin' Zanny Zan, sipping out the faucet. I'm confused, don't know what I'm doing. Wait, what I'm doing? Got me going where the I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. Wait, where I'm going? Wait, where I'm going? Out of space where I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I'll be up in the way. 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 I'll be up in the way.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
My name is Ruth Rusi. I'm a retired teacher. I'm 91 years old, and this is how I live united. I say retired, but not really. Once a week, I read books to children as part of United Way's education program. Reading to a child creates links between language and literacy. It creates a bond between grown-up and child. And believe it or not, it prepares them for a better academic future. Oh, we read about frogs and flies and pigs with wings, all sorts of juicy stuff. It's a joy to watch all those little faces. I figure I have the time and they have the need. And I've always believed that if we're not here to help each other, then what are we here for really? My name is Ruth Rusi. I help kids prepare to succeed in school. So I don't just wear the shirt,
every Friday,
I live
7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artists, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com.
I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature. And I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do. And I think that that's a big problem that people face now, like you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular. It's getting that person money. It's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause.
Right.
I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so so you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like, you know,
the Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Long live Pop. Y'all can go ahead and cry now. I'ma show these niggas what to do with one of your beats, man. I am Gas, by the way. Strong woman story should have been on CNN. Nobody knows what it's like being Gwen. Windows closed in the house, it ain't no CNN. Can't gain weight for years, she been being thin. Single mother, no help from the system. When they was giving out food stamps, she missed them. Birth certificate, baby daddy, she couldn't list them. But her son was so beautiful when she kissed him. Blame it on love, but nigga she could've died with. Destroyed the whole world and found out she was a side chick. The nigga loved his wife and it got hard to hide it. So when Quinn confronted him, he ain't even denied it.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Put my mic on because then you can hear me. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here live only on BeExposedRadio.com. The dancing man in the corner is Brother Noah. This man is... His mic not on.
My mic is on.
It's on. Is it up? Is it up? Can you hear him now?
Can you hear me now? No.
Oh. Maybe now. Say something now.
Say something. Can you hear me now?
It's all the way up. I turned it all the way to the other side.
Is it on now?
Right here.
On my shirt.
So, we're going to fix that. We're going to keep it going, though. So today is the last day for our August series on self-care. And I was about to say I'm tired of talking about it. But every time, it's like one day we had a really good show. And we talked about some self-care with Miss Ramona. I tricked her into coming. Thought she was having a meeting. Was found herself on it. Got it. But we had an awesome conversation because we talked more about preparing for, children, like in terms of being around children and being a teacher or educator or parent. And we had an awesome conversation. And then I've gotten some remarks on people have been sending me messages in terms of self-care depending on what area they're in. And today I just wanted to summate all of that and kind of go into a different space with it. And so what I was talking about in the first segment was just two arguments that I had, apparently that I walked into in the past week and a half. And again, I did not prepare the people who I was around for my growth. I'm sorry. I'm turning into a different person. I'll be 40 very soon.
40?
I'm 36.
Oh.
So I got about 4 years,
Yeah,
but I'm
about 4
prepared
years,
for it.
yes.
I said the same thing when I was 30. I was going to turn 30, and then it was there. So I have to prepare myself because there are goals that I've set for the time I hit 40, and part of that is just my attitude. I'm no longer going to snap at people. I was in a Lyft today, and he decided to. Lyft drivers have become zombies. In that they don't look at the phone to see the information, they just look at the little circle and where it's going. So they don't really care.
Yeah.
So I was really patient in that he went around the mulberry bush when he could have just went a straight line and got me here like half the time. So I was literally biting my lip. And I said, Nate, you can't do this. You got to really be calm because now you exploded on the inside. And I think I was starting to talk out loud, and he heard what I said, which brought me to argument number 3 this week, where I was called difficult. And this is, if you keep hearing it, you got to step back and examine yourself. So for the last couple hours, I stepped back and I examined myself, and I put together a nice little list of things that being, what is not considered being difficult. 7 things that don't make me difficult. Using my power of no. That does not make me difficult. You can be difficult, but me using my power of no, which is very powerful, it doesn't make me difficult. Saying no 3 times make you controlling. So you asking me after I've said no 3 times make you controlling.
Yeah.
So what does that say about you?
True.
Being assertive and not allowing your BS in my space. So if you're having a bad day, and you are projecting that now on me, and me saying no, have a nice day. That should have been the thing I put on that form that day of the thing that I say the most. Have a nice life, sir. And I say that, and I just mean for that day. I mean for a lifetime, but specifically, I want to say get the hell out my face. But I tell you, have a nice life. I used to say that to students, but I had to figure that out in a different way because it was funny to them. It became funny, and it wasn't a serious thing. And them realizing how much restraint I was showing in that moment.
Yeah.
That was starting to show, and I didn't want them to see that. Number 3, requiring that you respect my time, talents, energy, and I put M.O.N.E.Y. All in capital letters, because that has been disrespected and moved upon. Like when you offer somebody something and then they make you obligated for that. Like this was an offer. Like I could always take it back. Always. Literally out your pocket. Number 4, see that's aggression. I'm trying not to be aggressive. That's that Murder Wave, Westport, like that's that all that.
It's just an edge that Baltimoreans have that is perceived as aggression and being difficult, but it's just our personality. It's our raw.
Hard here, so for so long, like the John Hopkins of it all has really made us so hard that we don't often know. Because I'm a person that says hello to strangers, and I used to have people like, Nick, you can't do that, and I'm like, why? Until I started getting like, what the fuck, like aggression back. Yeah. Like all I did was say hello to you, like. I don't want to sleep with you. I just said hello. That's it. We made eye contact. Right. I thought maybe I should say something. Hello. And I keep it moving, but I've heard some crazy stuff in response to it.
They must have been pretty and ghetto, the type that don't even say hello, you know. So
some of them wasn't. I can't even say all of them was pretty because they wasn't.
And it's just a lack of parenting too, like. That shit should have been instilled in you with grandma. You speak when you make eye contact, when you step into somebody's room, house, something, you know.
Yes. We had I think we had a workshop with our company one time, and she was saying, call everybody Mr. and by their last name, Mr. or whatever, and they'll be more insightful. And I was like, not these Baltimore children. Welcome. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember is people gonna try to project their insecurities onto you. But you can't listen to what them niggas saying. You gotta get out here and do your shit regardless. You gonna do what you love for the rest of your life anyway. So why not turn that shit into something? Be a man of everything you say. This shit bigger than me, man. Like I'm good and all that, but you know what I mean? I ain't shit without y'all. What you up to, just go hard. Don't matter. Can you imagine how I really having nothing is? Stomach growling, you ain't got no food in the fridge. Surviving on a jail diet of water and bread. No father figure, that's cause my father dead. Mom's bringing different niggas in and out the crib.
Only in the forest can you see this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go. And you might just see this. Visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BeExposedRadio.com. I'm your host, Nate, and my co-host, Mr.
Brother Noah.
So let me hear you talk a little bit, sir. I kind of went in, but I can finish.
Were you done with your 7 points?
Oh no, I can finish that. So I was on number 5, deciding. So these are 7 things that don't make me difficult. One was using my power, no. Being assertive is number 2, and not allowing your BS in my space. 3, requiring that you respect my time, talents, energy, MONEY. 4, setting healthy boundaries and enforcing them.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you difficult.
It does.
Family.
It does.
In romance, it doesn't.
I say it does, Nate, because a lot of first of all, it is a wave.
It makes me difficult to somebody who is being selfish. Is that what you mean?
Yes, but
Okay.
it is a wave of self-love, self-preservation. Just having that thought of how I can better my own inner person, and a lot of people who are
healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries, yes.
So I think I put that, and maybe I should go edit that. I'm gonna put healthy boundaries. I'm gonna edit that.
So people who are making this, people who are deciding that I am not going to take this bullshit from society, you are being difficult to the rest of us who's still on the same wave of society, who's being the repetitious zombie.
Who's taking it with no vaseline.
Right? How dare you step outside of the box?
And I get that, and I took that into consideration, which is why I'm 36 and now really driving this home. Because I grew up with a cancer who, at any given time, I could come home and there was a family on the couch with bags, and I knew that my room was now being commandeered. Family members. When I say a family, I mean the wife, the husband, the grandmother, the 2 children, the dog, all their belongings is now in our garage, in our home, in my bedroom.
The dog.
So, trust and believe. I know what it feels like to want boundaries, but like, you know what? They homeless. Like literally, there was a family on my couch in the first, just in the first grade, but that was the first time I ever thought like it happened to me. There was this new child in school. People were teasing him because he was he was not homeless, but he was. I think their last name was Muhammad, and he smelled a little different. And he was different, and I didn't think anything of it. I wasn't teasing him, and then I saw him walking home, and I decided to go to the corner store, and I got home, and he was in my living room with his 3 siblings, his mother and his father, in all their bags. So I get it.
Did they bring that funny smell with them?
It wasn't a funky smell. It was just.
I didn't say funky. I said funny. There's a difference.
You know when somebody's natural.
Yeah.
So their products don't smell like our products. Right. That's what it, and
so
children, if it don't smell like Ivory and Lubriderm at that time.
But wait, was this, I'm guessing this was like at the beginning of the school year?
No, it was like mid school year.
Oh, all right. Because if you said the beginning, that means it had the possibility to be hot. And that different smell, it hit different when it's hot.
This was when I was in elementary, so that's when the ACs were working.
Oh, okay.
That's when they were working. This is not the schools that they are now. This is when they were working.
Gotcha.
And I went to a private school.
Okay.
But but I'm just saying healthy boundaries.
Yes.
At some point, I had to say to my mother, no, they can't sleep in my room. Like, I don't have my own space. I'm already the only boy. There's always all these girls in the house. When my uncles get out of college, what college is, I had to already share the room with them, and they were family. Whenever one of my uncles and aunts wasn't taking care of one of their children, they had to come stay. Like, I already had family that I had to. Now, strangers, no. And I was never strong enough to say that. I just left my mother's house at some point.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't do it no more. Like, who are these people? It's always people here. I gotta go. I'm your only child. It shouldn't be all of us. It should be me, great grandma, you, sister.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's it. Boundaries. I don't even like dogs. No dog. But so in those first 5, because you were saying healthy boundaries. Go ahead.
And so it is breaking the boundaries of the norm to let somebody know exactly how you're feeling. That is not happy or pleasurable or anything. So the fact that you expressed your anger to this Lyft driver that he could have taken the straight road, but he decided to go all around the mulberry bush with it, and hopefully it wasn't rush hour, you're breaking the boundaries now. How dare you speak? How dare you express yourself, American
And I get that
robot?
a lot. I'll say recently I've gotten that a lot. Because before, I was automatically, so how I met you, I was automatically detached. I don't get attached to people. So that's how I initially met you. You probably thought I was weird, sitting in your house, and I barely spoke to you. But that was cool, though.
No, first time we met, I asked you for your necklace.
Yeah, I was coming to your house.
Right. Okay.
And I'm a detached person, and it takes me like I was with Tracy that day, so I followed after Tracy, and that's normally I warm up to people that way.
Yeah.
So I had already met your mom, so I was comfortable with her, and Miss Bevel, I was comfortable and such, so I was good. But then Noah gonna be there, and this other guy gonna be, I don't know that, Tracy. You know boundaries for me. But it's just, for me, and then the moment I start being in this artist world, this black artist world, you got to be more open, you got to be more transparent, and so I did that. And what happened was people started discovering who I really was, and I have an angry streak in me, you know. And in places it was because I went to predominantly white schools. I worked in Emerson Village Shopping Center, so I had to be like aggressive in my nature, so people would not bother me.
Yeah.
And that wasn't a norm for me to be so open. So I had to learn how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And I'm just learning how to enforce them. Like, enforcing means you gotta go. Because you can't stay here because you're not respecting my boundaries. And what you're saying is what I'm getting now.
Yeah.
Like, people get an attitude when they're doing something wrong and you're telling them no.
And the reason why I even bring this up, Nate, because it's not just...
Yo, you telling me somebody told you about me? It sounds like that's what he was about to say. Like, but people
No. It's not just isolated in your family or this city or even this side of the coast.
And it's people in general.
It is an international phenomenon that if you break out the norm, if you express that you are in discomfort, you do not feel right about this, then people label you as difficult. And then to be more specific, in this Baltimore art scene, you start demanding pay because you've been doing it all your life and you're getting good at it, you're being difficult.
Yeah.
It's just certain thing. Oh, and then just being an actor. If you're not paying me and I expect certain things, like if we have an 8-hour rehearsal and there's no snacks and I'm not getting paid, is that me being difficult asking for a bag of chips and a bottle of water?
It's not, but I've been called difficult.
Yeah.
Because I've said, well, y'all need to at least feed us or get me out here on time or
pay for my parking, something.
Pay for my parking or find a business to sponsor just me so I don't have to go buy my own costumes too. Like little things that equal to a lot to somebody who may be in the same struggle you in. Like, and I've had to say that to myself before you plan a production, plan a little bit longer.
Yeah.
So you can have some things in order. But in me planning, I'm also honest about where we are, and you have the right to say yes or no. And I am that hospitable to people that are in my space, and I try to be as much as I can. But there are people who are out there that are being difficult in their space because they're making up this healthy boundary that does not need to exist. Like, it's hot as hell outside, and the AC is on in here, and you're complaining about it being cold and want the temperature to be brought down so it feels like it feels outside or feels like it should based on the way you dress, knowing that it was going to be AC in here. That's a boundary that does not need to exist. And you're now just being, and it's the other word. It's not a boundary. It's more so an obligation. I can't remember the word that they accuse a lot of, entitled. That's you feeling entitled. And you don't get a right to feel entitled because there were things that you could have done that prevented this thing that you don't like. So that's not a boundary to me. A boundary is me saying my phone gets turned off at 5 and it doesn't come back on until 8 a.m. and I get this long email or these long rants about not being able to reach me. And I've set that boundary because that's what a voicemail is there for. That's what a text message is for. That's what an email box is for. But we've grown so used to just being in people's space now. There was a moment when so when you were coming up and your mother wasn't home yet, what did you do? And you wanted something. What did you do?
Oh, I would probably call her or something.
You couldn't call her. There were no cell phones.
Oh, right. So I would just, I would just do that shit.
You would do it.
I would just do that shit.
Or you would wait until you saw her.
I was not that waiting. I was not that type of child. But
the
average child would have waited.
It out,
right.
Or you waited until you saw her.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
But now because we have these cell phones, I'm supposed to pick this thing up every time it rings. I don't even look at it. If I don't want to answer, I'm not even going to look at it.
Us millennials, we want things right now. We want you to change
Not even
right
right now, but how I see it without even communicating with you in enough time for you to make this choice before you have to make the choice. I'll wait till the choice has already been made. I'm in the choice 30 years into the choice and like, I don't like this. Can we change this? And that's fine. But you can't obligate me to change things because you've dealt with it. And you came into it and you accepted it. And you didn't say anything. But I was supposed to non-verbally communicate with you and you communicate with me to understand what your needs and your wants are.
Right.
I have a problem with that. So the other ones were, this is deep because I've been holding this in for a long time. And it was just really after that argument that I made that decision to even write this because this was his argument. Like he literally pulled over and we had this conversation.
He pulled over?
He did. He was mad.
Isn't that more money charged off your card?
No, it's still going to be the same price. Regardless. But Lyft is still the same price. I think Uber charge you if it goes over. Deciding who I want in my space and when. And I think this one could go both ways because some people do that and it's not healthy. Like they ghost you or they just cut off communication. And sometimes it needs to be that severe because you're not listening to me. If what I'm saying to you is not penetrating your heart or your mind, I have to just cut it off.
Yeah.
Because at this point, you choosing not to listen to me. And that's abuse in a certain way. And number 6 was asking questions that force you to be, that force you to be, I think I messed it up. To force you to be more transparent and open. So if we're doing business and I'm asking you questions that equal, I don't want you don't need to worry about that. I do. Because you're asking me for my time, talent, energy, MONEY.
Because this is the artist exchange, so I'm going to always take it back to our local art scene. Don't nobody hit me, him, or anybody up in this city, an artist that you legitimately want to do business with, in my Instagram DM talking about, hey, I want you to do this. When we send you an invoice or these are my rates, don't go ghost. Don't get an attitude. Don't talk shit about me to other people talking about I think I'm entitled. I think I'm all that. We're professionals. Come correct. Right. So that is absolutely right. You don't expect anything from me. You need to communicate. And if I have questions like that, is it paid? How much is the pay? Oh, here are my rates. I'm not being entitled or difficult about that. This is a goddamn business.
So as artists, we have to understand that people need what they need. Just like there are things that we need. And we understand it requires money, but how can we work this out in terms of us partnering? Because I do a lot of, if we partner, it doesn't take the responsibility of me paying off. It just allows you inside information to let you know, I don't have a money stack back here. Let's figure this out. And I've gotten into trouble doing radio like that because a lot of people have seen that I've been doing this for a number of years now and make an assumption that I bought a mansion and a Maybach off of this. And maybe not yet. Like, that's my plan, that's the strategy, that's the goal.
Oh, that's not your Maybach in the
no, that's not mine.
Oh.
I never said that was mine. But it would behoove people to say, well, these are my skill sets. This is how you can help me. The first thing I always ask people, every other statement that I make to people is, how can I help you? I always say that because I know I don't have a dad who left me a couple billion. This case you need something in life. This case you got goals and shit. I didn't get that. So everything that I do, I pay out of my own pocket. I work for, I struggle for. But it's just in this sense of entitlement that we all are in that just, it takes me to a space of, it makes me angry with how people were raised. You said parenting. It takes me back to how people were raised because there are basic things that we don't have now. Millennials have a horrible trait of not respecting elders.
And professionalism. Not respecting jobs. Just not respecting certain things in society, yes. Not respecting themselves.
I had a whole argument with a young lady who asked me to come on the show. And we were having, like, literally, I'm going to have to show you this one because we were yelling for the entire 2 hours. But because I had to get her to understand. So our elder is working at your job. I don't care whether you're over top of them or you're equal to them. In our culture, that is still an elder. You know, I remember going to a Woundworks rehearsal, and Mama K called me Baba. Okay, Mama K called me Baba, and I was like, I ain't ready for that, Mama K. Just call me Nate. I'm good with that. And she kept insisting that these young people call me Baba, and I had to succumb to it and be like, okay, I'm Baba Nate. I can deal with that. But and understanding that there are boundaries that you set, and you have to understand the value system that we're going on. So we're going to go into another break, and we're going to actually hear from Brother Noah and what he feels on these topics and these issues. So don't go anywhere. The Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BeExposedRadio.com.
Exposed Radio.
Well, if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
period.
Real. You right. That's the real deal.
It's period.
Right. And all that old money shouldn't go toward this, money should go to, if the child is with one of the parents 24/7, 7 days a week, you don't even come get your child every day. You come get your child once a month maybe, or once every 3 months.
Right.
You cannot dictate where that money goes, especially if the child ain't calling you about nothing. Now, if the child calling you every week, then you can question about where the child support is going. But if every time you pick up the child, they look nice, they ain't complaining about nothing, why are you worrying about where the money go at?
It is what it is. Radio show.
White keys only have this bitch jumping.
Okay. If I sit around, hold up. Look. If I sit around, hold up. Yeah. Rebel up. Let's do it.
If I sit around, I'ma smoke some more. Wasn't even thinking about smoke before, but I'm in my head, I'm in the bed. Don't know who I am, like I'm wearing a mask. Work them old, tell them where the cash. If you wear the cash, tell them where the cash. If you playing for you, gon' run it back. You make promises, but I promise that. Don't promise me, cause I ain't into that. Fell in love with that and got hurt from that. Now it's all over and the curtains back. Can't see you not noticing that. I'm letting it go, it ain't holding me back. Yeah, I'm on dice, but ain't come for the crack. Drinking with uncle, we only do jack. How I'm alive, I thank God for that. Praying about it, things getting better. Open it up with my name on the letter. Why you crazy about it? Saying whatever, you shy to be you. You know you gotta be you. Sometimes I need privacy too. Yeah, you know I ride. You know I ride, and you know you ride for me too. Yeah, you know I. Look, you like getting that hit for real. When it's me and Murray, just us, we chill. I'm in a rush to get off to get you. Never ever had to floss to get you. Pay the dues that it cost to kiss you. Rug burns on the carpet with you.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on, dog. Throw this in there. Had to dedicate this to the homie out of New Orleans. Break. Said she wanna bump that. We gonna do it. Go ahead, do it. I sit around.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin Street? Girlin Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Ooh, my Lord. We're on. Welcome back, people. And that's why I needed a month of it. Because and this goes beyond just meditating and getting a massage and deciding to go on your lunch break to go get your toes played with. It goes beyond that. It's really deeper than that. Like, I shudder to ask you, how do you do self-care? I don't think you can talk about some of it.
I can't talk about some of it?
I don't, in my mind, I don't think you can talk about it.
Well, my self-care is, I had really bad issues with image and how I saw myself and the power that I had. So my self-love and evolution
is that where the new bald head came from?
This is where the new, well, no, I'm balding. I'm actually going bald here. This patch of hair doesn't grow.
It's a Baltimore thing.
Is it for real? Mm-hmm. You already know.
And if they ain't bald, then they ain't really from Baltimore.
They ain't from Baltimore.
They got a little, New York or something in them.
So my self-love is definitely an internal thing. I really just had to realize the power that I had within myself. So, certain techniques that I did was my daily affirmations. Mm-hmm. I made a lot of vision boards. I still have a vision board now.
So before you go to the solution, what issues culminated around you not having a good self-positive image?
I was teased a lot when I was in school. Mm-hmm. I didn't have many friends because I went to public schools my entire life. I went to Baltimore School for the Arts for high school.
That was still a public school.
That was still a public school.
That let county people
So minus BSA, I went to all the ratchet ass schools for middle school. I went to Booker T. Washington.
Ooh.
That's
where that.
I went to Furman Templeton on Dolphin. Right.
Who was your principal?
I don't know. It was some short lady she had dentures and shit. I forgot her.
The one, Miss Blackwell? I forgot her name. She probably was fired at that point.
It's been a lot of marijuana
I can't say that.
since then. So I was always teased. I was always artistic, so I was the weird one. I didn't have a lot of friends. I wasn't getting the girls. The girls wasn't interested in me. I just
Did they tell you your booty was bigger than theirs? That's why
I always had a big ass, and they always used to tease.
A girl told me that.
Really?
She told me my butt was too big.
That's terrible. They always said I had boobs.
She changed the course of my life.
Why would I? Because my chest goes down because I'm a big boy. They always said something about that. So it was always just poor self-imagery.
You look on your nipple. But you would have got
now I will.
pedophile.
Now I will. So it's just believing those people and hearing it from all these aspects. Even many folks in my family.
You started believing.
I believed it.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times where, and now just studying, like looking at different words and what they mean, like that body dysmorphia.
Yeah.
I legit thought that I was 10 times bigger than I actually was.
Oh, a teacher told me I had that, but I felt the exact opposite.
Really?
Like I always thought, well, I wasn't always heavy, so I got heavier, like really towards like the end of high school because I became more internal and I ain't like going outside. But I really thought in my mind, it's this reason I dress the way I dress. Not now, like I know who I am, but it's the way you see yourself, and it could be positive. Or it could be negative, and it's on that spectrum somewhere.
So literally just, if that turned into I wasn't able to express myself, I started to hold my emotions more. I felt that no one cared. I didn't have any friends. I felt alone. I felt depressed and despair. I started, when I got to high school, I started to cut. I tried to kill myself. Yes, I tried to kill myself back in 2012. It hurt. But not that I'm like a sadist or masochist or anything like that. But it was literally like, this pain feels better than the weight.
So you were displacing the pain. So you was putting it
somewhere else.
Somewhere else.
I don't want to feel this. It felt like a sumo wrestler was sitting on my chest. That depression, that despair.
Did you say anything to anybody?
No. In fact, I love my mother to death. Don't get me wrong. And me saying this now, you can question her. I love her. My father wasn't in my life. I'm still with my mother to this day. I love this woman to death. She is my rock, been in my corner. But this is my truth. She was a young woman, a younger woman than she is now. She saw that I had cut myself, and she told me I'm stressing her out, and left that shit there and never brought it back up again until maybe when I was a adult.
And that's a typical adult situation where, especially with mothers, black mothers, and I've never been anything else but black, so that's the only perspective I can come from, because it might happen to Chinese and white people too, but all I know is black mothers. They internalize what's going on with them, and some either get quiet or some become your fucking shoulder, and they are on you. And I had a kind of a mixture of both. And examine how she was raised and her reaction. If it helps at all at this point, it will show you why. And we don't normally look beyond what we can see.
And I didn't see that. I didn't see that aspect, Nick, until I was an adult. But for 14-year-old Noah and his mother said that, I just knew the world is over. What the fuck else is there? My mother just said that to me. And so at that moment, that is when I really became quiet. I developed a stutter. I like a lot of things just happened. And then, so maybe a couple of years later, I started to get friends at BSA because I was around a bunch of weirdos just like me. And
y'all wasn't weirdos. Y'all was pretending.
We were pretending. That shit was all an act because we all got 18 and everything. Just we're back to normal. But in that, we just had a training on this and the different aspects of how kids learn and what's important for them between when they're toddlers to children to teenagers and adolescents. So the teenagers and adolescents really learn from relationships and friendships.
And that's hard. And not, we gonna continue what he was saying, but that's hard for an instructor. Because I go into a space, I'm not here to be your friend. But how can I help you? And I used to early on, I have Jordans in my closet. I have stuff that I personally don't wear. That I bought to wear. So these students would find a connection to me. Wow. And I was like, I don't enjoy wearing stuff like this. It's not comfortable to me. I'm not coming in here with no damn tight ass True Religions on. I'm not doing that. Right. Just so I can you imagine me sagging? Like, that's just disgusting to me. Like, to look at it. Yeah. But I'm saying that's a harsh reality.
It is.
Because they don't have relationships at home.
Right, exactly.
So they're coming to school looking for somebody to like.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Yeah, keep going then.
No, we good. I needed it because I'm getting annoyed. Although good. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here with the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigExposedRadio.com. When I hear these stories, it's frustrating.
Join the Just a Bit Outside crew every Monday, 8 to 10 p.m. on BeExposedRadio.com.
You want to start off?
I think I'll get it out of the way on a who's not.
Okay, do it.
The Orioles.
Right.
They got swept by the Royals. They lost 4 in a row, and the last 5 games have all been decided by 1 run.
Mm-hmm.
The game before, or the last game that they lost before the Royals was the Nationals, and it was Weeders, of course, won with a home run.
Hit the home run.
Right.
They were going into that National series. It seemed like they were doing so well, and they just crapped out. They got that game postponed, so who knows when they're going to replay that or play that game.
Mm-hmm.
That's my first not for the night.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on my who's not, and I'm going to talk about the San Diego Padres.
The Padres. That's okay. You just took my answer.
They're in last place in the NL West. They've lost 8 of their last 10. Their run differential is a negative 65, which is just horrible. So when you have let me just talk about run differential a little bit. It's kind of like the
how much like you're winning or losing your games by, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. It's like the margin of victory, kind of.
Right.
So when you're in a negative number, that means that you're.
Then your average game you're losing
by a whole lot.
Right.
I mean, a number like negative 65, this early into the season is pretty rough.
That's horrible.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I had these people, but then my father left, my grandmother died, the family split, we fell on hard times, and then that's when I experienced the PG&E being off. We just wondering when the next meal was going to come. So I saw both worlds, really.
And for me now, it's one of the things that whenever I get a chance to talk to parents, and I often get to talk to my friends who get to see the side, especially ones who are single parents raising young men, communicate with your child. When they open up the refrigerator, that food didn't magically get there. I never saw, up until maybe middle school, I never saw my mother go to the market. I never saw her go to the market. It was just there. It was just there. The food was there. I think I was homesick one time, and my mother brought groceries home. And that was the first time I ever saw her I never saw grocery bags. I never saw receipts. Food was just there.
Wow.
Lights just were on. And you have to communicate with your children. One, because you're not being honest with them. You're not sharing with them. You're not teaching them. And then they grow up and all their lights get turned off the second month, or they pay that deposit, and then 3 months later they about to get evicted. Because they don't know how to, how does this work? Other than me calling back home and my mother giving me my first and last month's rent, or you don't understand how the world works. And you don't have interpersonal relationships. My sister, and she probably will get mad at me if she looks at this, she is raising my nieces the way my mother raised us. And she is angry at me right now because I brought that to her attention. And that we don't live in a world where you can isolate your children anymore. Because it's not so much what your child knows that will get you in trouble. Like when we were younger, it's what your child doesn't know that's going to get them into trouble. Like just because a penis feels good without a condom don't mean you should be doing it. And you shouldn't even know what it feels like. Because diseases, babies, all those things.
Well, we can't say that anymore. You shouldn't know, because if you're giving your kid this with full access, you're not putting that parental restriction on it.
Right.
The whole world is open to them, the entire world. So
teachers, I mean, they're going to sending them to school with 30 and 40 people in that class that could possibly be an influence on them.
Definitely.
I've seen how children talk to each other. Like I cramp. When I say this last year and a half in the school system has made me feel like, what the fuck do you know? Like I feel stupid.
All of my advanced sexual experiences all happened in the hallways of Booker T. Washington Middle School.
And that was going to be my possibility, and then I got into a private school, and that changed the trajectory of a lot of decisions that I would have been open to. But I mean, it didn't prevent any struggle or things happening to me as an adult. But imagine me at Booker T.
Yeah, and frankly, it comes down to, Nate, like us being instructors and having to deal with these damn parents. I ain't an instructor no more. I moved up. I'm now full admin.
He's a white collar now.
But what I did see was like these parents, they don't really want to be parents. It's something that just happened to them.
They want their childhood back, and I don't think our parents were void of that, but they knew they had a responsibility, so they either went far left or far right with it. Yeah. These parents are like, all right, I see you, and they go out, and they're leaving their children at home, and they, and I was a latchkeeper. My mother was at work. She wasn't like partying somewhere.
And not saying that this is the end all be all, because I didn't have this in those like that young child moving into adolescence. Like we never sat down and ate dinner. My mother was never the mushy gushy type that wanted. I mean, now she's definitely changed now, because I had a bad breakup last year, and I have legit cried on my mother's shoulder several times. So she has gotten better. But a lot of these parents just
they didn't get that though.
They didn't get that.
No,
it's what they want. But
I can say it was. I have maybe one or two family members, and I never forget my Uncle Johnny was always the weird uncle because he would kiss us, and I thought he was a pedophile growing up. I really did. I didn't know that was affection.
Yeah.
We just thought but then we had an uncle who possibly was a pedophile, and that's the one we should have been watching out for. But we looking at this one,
right?
And they didn't have that. And they really had to protect their children against, affection. So I can't give you affection, because that's, sexual.
But
it's
even
always was sexual.
Yeah, affection is great. Taking care of the child as far as clothing them and feeding them is good. But when they get into that adolescent stage, it's certain parents, and it's not just restricted to white or Asian. I have seen, now they live in the county though, but I have seen black families who are invested parents, not just I feed you, I clothe you, you go to school, all right, leave me alone. It's they have their children in extracurricular activity. They're making sure their kids, even if it's in summer or beyond homework or doing some sort of studying, they are showing their kids, this is how you pay a bill. This is how I balance my checkbook. This is how I do this here. They start to give their kids, all right, I'm going to make this list. You go to the grocery store now. They really start to train, invest in these kids, actually have time, pamper this creation you've made to have them ready.
That happens on levels within the inner city.
Yeah.
But it's either that parent, it normally goes to the weaker child or what's perceived as the weaker child, or it happens in families, because I've seen 2-parent households, 3-parent households, where that doesn't happen. Like it is not there.
Yeah.
And the single parent makes it happen. Like there were tons of things in terms of affection and love verbally that I did not get, but I was always in the after school program. I was always around people who showed me that type of affection.
Yeah.
In those external programs. And it started at Furman L. Templeton. Like our principal wrote plays. Miss Rock, my 4th grade teacher, she put me in my first play to make me wear my glasses. Like, so I was shown that type of support.
Yeah.
I was in Project Raise at Fermanagh Templeton. Mitchell, Judge Mitchell, his wife worked at the school. So we had this program called Positive Image. All those things that my mother, because she worked at the school, she had firsthand knowledge of and put me into those things, kind of gave me the structure that I needed.
Yeah.
And those things got me to a private school and then got me to a private high school. So those things got me in places. So I, as an adult now, I can see how my mother tried and succeeded in many cases. But it was just those parents, if you realize, it's not the stuff that you give them.
Yeah.
Like I can't remember gifts that I've gotten that was that significant, but I remember like time, or certain things that have happened in the family where we got together. And I was just talking about this to some people, but it's those things that matter most in kind of instilling value systems into a child, because you can't send a child into a world without values and expect for them to get it. And I feel like many of our families are slowly pushing our children out the door. So when 18 gets there, now 16 now, getting them out the door, I'm like, woo. So, yeah.
Even billionaires and millionaires, oodles of money will tell you like their most happiest of moments or memorable moments are those that are connected with other human beings.
Right.
Not something that they bought, they were excited, they were, giddy about the wealth that they accumulated or however they got it. But those moments that they talk about that make them genuinely happy are connections with people.
And one of the things that I do now is I watch Iyanla Fix My Life, and that show.
How you say her name?
Iyanla.
Iyanla? I don't know why I keep saying Iyanla Van Zant. Fix My Life.
You're trying to be Caucasian. You can't say that. But Iyanla, and you'll see celebrities on there, you'll see regular people, and it's often the things that parents or people did not realize children heard, they understood, they took in, they kind of compartmentalized, that affected them throughout adolescence into adulthood. And that, people say what they want to say about her, but I see how touch is necessary for life.
Yeah.
Just like breathing, just like water, just like human contact. That's
Isn't
vital
it if a
for
baby
life.
doesn't get picked up, they'll get sick, die?
Yeah, they'll stop. Their immune system is affected. Their cognitive skills are affected. That's why certain children relate in certain ways, and they don't know how to, and then they begin to mimic what they see. And if it's just adults around them, that's the behavior that they mimic.
Yeah.
And this all goes back into self-care, because it doesn't just start with putting yourself on I get my hair cut schedule. It is more than the cosmetics, the things on the surface. It goes a lot deeper. You have to begin to clean out those things. Somebody just said something to me. I think I was in a meeting or something, and it dealt with how we talk to each other.
Oh, yeah.
And how we relate to each other is very significant for all of us, because we allow people to do things, and that's why I put on that list setting healthy boundaries, because I did not do that. And I have friendships now that I've lost, and that may not necessarily be lost, but I don't have right now because I was not aware of the boundaries that were necessary. Like when you make mistake or you say certain things, that's how a person really feels. And if I don't check you then, you will keep doing that and inserting that into our relationship until I can't take it no more. And it gets violent, or an argument ensues, or whatever happens, but we have to begin to learn how to communicate with each other. And our needs, I think, is at the top of that list. What do I need? And I remember when I first went to college, my cousin said to me, she said, when you go to college, it's going to be different because you're going to be on a dorm with somebody. She said, but when you start the conversation, ask them what they need first before you start listing all your rules and your guidelines. Just like we set it up to go into the classroom, and let's set up the rules instead of me coming in there with my rules. It allows you to be able to speak your piece and feel like you are part of this and not like you just your audience member the whole time. But this is significant to me because it's something that I'm currently going through.
And that goes back to identity. And I'll just go back quickly to my story. When I was in high school, had my weirdo friends, but we apparently weren't really weirdos.
Y'all were weirdos.
And
You
that
can claim it.
building that relationship and hearing those positive things that I'm from these people daily began to change that paradigm, that ideology that I had about me. And just going through things, is getting older, having confidence. Women start to notice me more, only because I had started to be more confident in who I was. And in turn, the solutions of that poor self-imagery comes I found the secret. So I started to believe in the law of attraction. I still believe in the law of attraction and use it
So I'm
daily.
gonna drop right now so we can go to commercial break and he gonna finish when we come back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the Artist Exchange Radio Show only on BigSpoonsRadio.com.
This is a Poverty ENT exclusive. Next stop, Texaco, strapped up, you already know. Fuck niggas hate, that's how it goes. Bros with me, yeah, it's time to go.
Nigga chose by another nigga, bitch. Damn.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story, adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org.
With money about Jennifer Holliday.
Anyway, let's get back to
Yeah, well, what I wanted to say is that I can understand 100% where Jennifer Holliday is coming from, and that's sort of kind of where my 20% came from. When I basically came out and said who I voted for, I received a lot of backlash. Even on my own talk show, which comes on every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m., I was called a coon. Okay, yeah, shout out for the plug. But yeah, someone actually, they told CJ Bernie that I was a coon, and that really hurt me. I've been called everything from a fat whatever and everything, but someone actually commented on his Facebook
I didn't even
Live.
say that. That's kind of rough.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show here on BeExposedRadio.com. We're just talking about self-care. We're kind of summating things, and I'm asking Brother Noah to pick it back up where you left off.
So, to help with self-imagery, I began to do positive affirmations daily, vision boards. Was vegan for 6 months, but then came home one day.
How'd that work out?
It went amazing. I had never felt as light. I was happy. My mind was sharp. Didn't have to do any drugs to feel good. Like, it was a good time. But then somebody made some motherfucking T-bone steaks one day.
I ain't never been that type of meat eater. My mama used to make me a steak every year for Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I hated it.
I love a good medium rare steak.
I'm a chicken, turkey, not really even seafood.
Have you ever
Burger,
tried the embrosed chicken from the
That sounds real
Amish?
bougie.
So it's roasted chicken, and then they fry it. It's the best chicken you've had in your goddamn life.
That seems tough.
Somehow it's the softest, juiciest chicken you have in your life. It's really good. So yeah, so positive affirmations, law of attraction, all that stuff. And ever since then, I have been on a good even kill. So I went to the psych ward. They put me on Seroquel, lithium, all that bullshit. That shit didn't do nothing but make me into a zombie, and I'm an actor, and I need.
How did that feel? Like, were you aware that you were a zombie?
Yeah, it was things that happened that normal shit that I would get. I was used to getting an emotional response to. I was just like, for example, when my girlfriend tells me I love you, that gave me warm fuzzy feelings inside. When she said that, I was just like.
So were you able to function?
No, and that's why I stopped taking it. Within a month's time.
That's why I don't know why these people out here playing with these drugs like that. How the hell you take something that alters your state of mind, your faculties, like your fingers don't even work the same way no more.
So for the people who are out there who are advocates of the drug, to taking those drugs, yes, you're absolutely right that you're supposed to continue working with your psychiatrist to find the right dosage. But eventually, unless I was diagnosed with bipolar, and that's supposed to be a lifelong thing. But eventually, you want to wean yourself off of that and become.
That's always the plan,
right? And become dependent on yourself. But these days, a lot of psychiatrists want to. Well, first of all, big pharma wants you to continue to take it. But natural remedies, and I don't mean you don't gotta get up and drink the special lemon balm tea with the honey. If you're not into that, that's fine. But just literally changing your own thought pattern. And me being the age I am now, I'm still in my 20s. I don't know, but Mr. 40-year-old, you're not 40.
You about to come? I ain't said I was 40. I said I'm on my way to 40.
So it's literally the thought in your mind. Right you are if you think you are. And this is easier said than done. This takes years of practice, years of trying, trial and error. But if you feel depressed and despair, anxious, angst, that weight, that extra gravity on you, you sit down and you think about where all this stuff generates from. Even if it's a big long ass string that has points in many different areas in your life, you'll find that it generates all from within. You change your thought, your outlook, how you see yourself, how you react to the world, the boundaries that you set, you're going to find yourself to be a happier person.
But often you have to change your environment and the people in it first.
Absolutely.
Because changing who you are and staying in those environments and those circles of people, you're going to either commit suicide or you're going to damage something.
And
somebody,
you changing,
someone,
you starting those changes will give you that thought to even want to move.
Once you start eliminating people and places that affect you, everything else will become clear, because often those are the things. I'm not blaming them.
Yeah.
Your connection with those things and those people are the issue, not necessarily the people, because they their own self.
Yeah.
You know, you're not responsible for that. But once you start eliminating those things, certain stresses will leave out your life.
You got to be honest with yourself. Those people were there for a season. That season's gone now, and it's time for you to move. So that is my personal journey with self-love, and just my own testimony. It works, and me being a young man who's been doing these positive things for the last 5-6 years. This summer was probably one of the most financially interesting summers that I had. I got a raise, but yet somehow I'm making a little bit less money. It's fine. So I had to learn the budget. But there were literally times in my job I'm traveling to D.C. and Virginia, Howard County, Montgomery County, all around the DMV area. And getting paid once a month, a little less than what I normally make. Close to the end of that month, money get a little tight when you gotta fill that gas tank. But just staying positive, not letting that anxiety get to me, that angst get to me, that despair hold over me, staying positive, picking those positive affirmations, literally, randomly, someone just cash apps me $40, and it's not mumbo jumbo, it's not magic, it's the
You're welcome.
it's the
Sorry.
it's the natural energies that we have inside ourselves, and if you ain't really about it, if you don't study it or know about it, it does sound a little mythical, a little far stretched, something that you can achieve. It takes baby steps. This is me already gone through that poor self-imagery, the trial and error, the long, lonely, desperate nights. So this is a lifelong process. So it may sound weird now, but if you start today, I guarantee you things will change.
And it takes admitting to yourself that you want more.
Yeah.
It takes you deciding that what you've been given isn't enough.
Yeah.
And that you deserve it. And I haven't been as transparent about this last year as I wanted to be, and I'm not going to start today. But I'll say I didn't get rid of people. I chose to pause strategic relationships in my life that I saw being an issue. And it was an issue because of me. I never said, or I was never honest about how I felt. And I'm the most honest in my family. When I feel something, I say it. But individual people is where I struggle. Because I didn't want to hurt certain people's feelings, or I wanted to continue certain relationships. And something happened maybe like 6 years ago. I kept losing people the same way. It would always be a struggle in terms of there would be a project that somebody was asking me to come on, and somehow in the midst of putting on that production or that event, there was a conflict, a misunderstanding, and I got cast away, or I became the number one enemy. And I was like, how's this happening? And I started examining those relationships, and that person in their life wasn't getting what they wanted. So I became the person that was obligated to get it for them. And me being who I am, I'm going to try to do whatever I can do to help you, but I needed certain things, or there was always something that would come up, or something that would happen that would force that other person to question my loyalty, or why am I there, or what am I doing, or what have you. And I kept being accused of just being difficult, or not respecting what their needs are. And I'm like, well, my needs aren't being addressed. And I'm trying to do and I saw myself giving more than I was receiving. So I had to cut them off.
So to make this topic for resolution, the moment, not years in it, or the moment you decide that you are going to not be selfish, but to focus on the things that you need. It's not wrong with being selfish, because sometimes you gotta worry about self. Yeah, yeah. My pastor said that I had a selfish season, and I'm coming out of that now. But my pastor welcomed me into my selfish season. Yeah. If you cutting yourself, you need a selfish season, because there are people around you, that are not acknowledging what your needs are. You aren't acknowledging what your needs, so you need to quiet all that noise so you can really hear what you're supposed to be getting from the universe, or God, or Yahweh, or Yahshua, whatever you want to call them. You need to hear that and not all this other stuff. So there's a selfishness that's required. There's nothing wrong with a little selfishness. It's just when you live your life that way, with disregard of how other people feel in terms of what you're doing. So with that selfishness, the moment that you decide to break into the self-love, to be more aware of what your inner being is telling you that you need to do to be healthy, that's when people are going to say you are being difficult. Oh, you changing. You being entitled. You different. Oh, you think you one of them. Oh, you thought I was him.
The last show that did he just come in with a thing? Oh, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back here on the Artist Exchange Radio Show, only on BigSpotsRadio.com. I don't be acknowledging.
for shiny things. I can't allow this blasphemy. It's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Don't lose yourself, stay on track. Baby, you're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. Full of the things that we've overcome. Full of unspoken battles we've won. You're so much better.
It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to today's graduation ceremony. Students, when you hear the reason or reasons for your absences throughout the years, please exit the auditorium without your high school diploma. Once you've exited, remove your cap and gown and proceed into the unknown. Too tired. Family trip. Part-time job. Helping around the house. Sick day. Starting the holidays early. Just because.
Starting in the 6th grade, students who miss 18 days or more of school in a year for any reason will fall behind and risk not graduating high school. How many days of school has your child missed this year? Absences add up. Keep track at boostattendance.org today. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and the Ad Council.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
I set my schedule for this year already. Welcome back to the Artist Exchange Radio Show. I feel exhausted from a month of talking about self-care, or am I calmer? One of them will work for me at some point. But self-care is important. It's specific to who we are. Like, it's a part of our skin. If you cut yourself, your body will naturally heal itself.
Yes.
It happens to us naturally. What happens is we fight against it, we ignore it, we put it off, we don't address it. So therefore the problems keep going. It's just like a bill. You know how you have money in your account and you've been spending, and you're like, I don't think I want to look at that account. And then you try to go to that one thing and you get declined. You're like, damn, I thought I had a little bit more, and you know you didn't. But it's the same thing as with your health. If you keep avoiding putting any attention on it, you will get that notice one day that something falling off.
For my young black men, we don't.
That's next month. But go ahead. You can give us a taste into it.
For my young black men, when it comes to self-love, self-preservation in 2019 America and forever America, we have not had the time or the money to do this one luxury thing. To sit the hell down and think. To find out who we are, what we like, what our boundaries are, really to find an identity and a personality. So what happens is, this toxic masculine image of what a black man in America should be, we by default tag along to that, because we really didn't have many male figures, positive male figures, that would raise us up to say who it is and who's not.
And that image was set by somebody who did not have those things in them lives.
Absolutely. So we go into a relationship, and we have all this trash, all this trauma in our souls, and we are just expressing it through cheating, expressing it through lack of love, lack of support within our partner, and just eventually we take advantage of this person. We break up and we move on to the next victim. So I think that the next wave of evolution for us young black millennials, we really need to take some time, and it's hard in America 2019. We don't have the money or the time to do it, to sit down and really figure things out, to wake up and smell the ambrosia. We don't have that time, but I guarantee you, I beg you, I bless you, make time for it. Make time to sit down and come up with mechanisms. Go inside yourself, begin to burn some of that trash out your soul. not even just for relationship sakes, but just so your own self can feel better. Carrying that weight, that gravity on you is not being a man. That is unhealthy living, and one day you will crack.
And to like push that forward, our first show for September will be Miss Jewel Guy. It'll be on a Monday, and she'll be talking about this project that she took on called Dear Black Men. She just wrote her first book, and the way the book is written is every day she did these different posts on black men, and she did a lot of apologizing. She did a lot of clarifying and asking questions for clarity, and the book is written that way, and you just answer the questions.
Wow.
So she had a lot of statements that had me, I don't respond to many things on Facebook, but it had me in certain instances replying, and then there were certain topics I was like, let me close that out. I'm not putting my information on there. But that then will transition us into next month, and in a way where I've been feeling that since the Cosby issue came up and the idea of Me Too, and I'm not against Me Too, but where Me Too is today is not how that young lady, and I can't remember her name, intended for it to be. And most of it is. But where we are now is, as a black man, I'm uncomfortable in a room alone with a young woman, or just a woman in general. I don't know how to react. I remember us doing this big, and just a room full of people, period. I don't know how to relate to people, because it hasn't just been men abusing women. It's been women abusing women, and men abusing women, and men abusing men. It's been a lot. And so much so that we sit in that room with Kim Poole, who did this big circle and had everybody in the room crying. And I remember speaking to Ramona on Monday about this, and I'm sitting there watching this happen, and I am awkward because I'm a compassionate person, and I'm sitting between this young man on the left of me, and I think it was Jarrell on the right of me, and they both are crying. He was crying, he told his story, then it was me, and then this gentleman telling his story, and I can hear the lumps just getting up in people's throats, going around the room, and I could see certain people who were being extra triggered, and I just saw this happening, and it became, I saw how certain people who had already developed relationships were consoling each other, but everybody else was left out there. And I felt horrible because, one, these people were just laughing and joking and walking around with their mask on, and they were forced to relinquish, not forced, but they all chose to take it off and show everybody, which was healthy for the group, because that was a large group to feel that type of comfort in. And I could see people were holding back, and it probably was me, but
it wasn't.
It wasn't me. I told a real personal story, but things don't affect me that way because I'm real with myself first, and I've gone through that, and I've gotten it out, and I understand how to be sympathetic and empathetic without breaking and falling apart. That's what professionalism is. You got to learn how to balance that in a way. And I saw that, but I felt the need, but we live in a society where that is uncommon. But what I was seeing was uncommon. And it was just not being able to comfort these two gentlemen that were sitting beside me. And I can't remember, he was a really young guy, tall. I think he was from DC. And his story was a story that I've heard from other students before, where their parents kicked them out of the house in the midst of them following their dreams. And I remember him sitting there, and he's really young, but I saw him fighting like not to cry, but it was just coming out of him. And I was like, wow. And I'm still focusing on him while telling my story, looking around the room, still seeing people cry. And then this gentleman started talking, and I was like, okay. And then I heard the lump come up in his throat. And I said, man, what is going on? And wanting to reach out, but not feeling safe in this space to be a comfort to somebody. And the fact that we've gotten to that point as black men, and I can't speak for all black men, but being in a space of being a black man and not feeling comfortable in spaces where when I'm alone with any particular person, or especially a woman or a woman from another race, I'm really self-conscious about that now. It's brought about a self-consciousness in me that I never had. I never thought about that while I was in a room with people, because that's not on my mind, to sexually abuse somebody or mistreat somebody or abuse somebody in general. But I just feel in this climate that we're in, where everybody is allowed to tell their story now, I feel like I can't say anything.
Well, my first week of Baltimore School for the Arts, it was a young Asian, Caucasian girl. I'm not going to say her name.
She was both?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I remember we walked into our voice lesson class. This is I'm a freshman, and this is like the first week of school. And it's Baltimore School for the Arts, so the day is long because we have half academic and then half conservatory style art, whatever your art was, music, theater, dance. I was in the theater department. Me and this Asian Caucasian girl, we sitting in the voice classroom early because we changed out of our clothes early. And I said to her specifically, I said, wow, well, you seem like such a nice young lady. I'm glad that we're in the same class. I can't wait to get to know you more.
And you probably said it just like that.
Just like that, real white, real weird. The next day, I'm being pulled into the principal's office because they said I harassed her. Almost got expelled from the goddamn school. And then years later, she finally admit that she was going through stuff and that she lied and she didn't know why she did it, blah 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 blah. But ever since then, I've always been leery, but I have never let that change my reaction because I know that I'm a wholesome, loving person. I just did a show in May at the Theater Projects. I was the only male and I was the only black body there. And you know how Theater Projects backstage is. That is the tightest backstage area I ever worked in. And we all had to change. We all had to get naked. I'm a professional actor. I handle it as professional as possible.
And I haven't done a show since then.
Really?
Since this all kind of became a thing. It's been about 2 years.
Wow, yeah.
And I'm uncomfortable. It really is. It's I don't know how to explain it, but I am uncomfortable.
Wow.
Like saying things, being in a space, because my issue is I watched an uncle at the age of about 16 be accused of rape in the same fashion. He was in school and the same thing happened, where they were him and another boy and a girl was in the auditorium and they got caught and she got embarrassed and said they tried to rape me.
Yeah.
I watched my uncle in either his late 20s or early 30s in court after he was arrested. He was getting high with a prostitute and they did whatever, and she asked him for money at the end and he said, I don't do that, and she ran outside screaming, he raped me. And then watching her recant her story and tell why she said it as she was high on the stage, on the podium. So that's how I went into this Me Too movement. Knowing those things and then hearing all the accounts of somebody be alleged and then be vindicated. I've seen, and it just hurts me in a way that makes me and forces me to be uncomfortable.
I think a lot of things in life, we really can't take for at its first glance because everything isn't the way it seems, and it's not victim blaming. And it is not undermining what that woman has gone through.
But you just want to hear the whole story.
We want to hear the whole story. And I want to hear, if somebody gets murdered or it's a fight, we hear both stories. We hear both sides of the story. We do this in a lot of aspects in our society. So how is it that when a man is being accused by a woman or a woman is accusing someone that we don't take it with the same grain of salt, that we aren't as leery, as quick, especially when it comes to a white woman? The world stops.
And we've heard so many accounts. It's been more accounts of false accusations from white women than from any other race that I know of.
But yet, on the same token, just bringing it back to race, because race is a heavy thing in our world. Let a black woman And the black woman started the Me Too movement, and the white women took gung ho, ran with it, and is still running with it. But let a black woman say that someone who has touched her, has raped her, and actually has, and not about it has actually happened, because the black woman's body is disposable to the entire fucking world. Let her say it, and she is instantly questioned.
Or in taking it to another extreme where, as a black man, I don't want to read headlines. I don't want a victim to come out on social media before they go to a court. And there's a problem because people don't feel safe in courts or in front of police officers or whatever. But I don't want to hear trial by Facebook likes. I don't want, because that makes me uncomfortable. Because my uncle could have did a lot of time in jail. My other uncle could have been expelled, and his life already took a harsh turn. But it was things like that. Like, how do you come back from being accused of doing something? And you were doing something you weren't supposed to do, but I didn't do that.
It doesn't. And then you look at a lot of these folks like a Kevin Spacey. From that situation, like, people are accepting of it, but it's still really leery to him. The boy, he wasn't exactly touched, but it was a lot of unnecessary advances towards this boy. So that's a very...
And there was talk when he was here, and everybody was like, yeah, we knew him, we saw him out on the meat rank. So why didn't anybody say anything? I know that is somebody's personal life.
Yeah.
But if you saw something inappropriate, why didn't you say something?
Why do people hold things inside for so long?
I mean, the victim or the person who's alleged to be the victim, that holds true, because it wasn't until I think I was probably like 32, and I had a young lady from California call into the show, and she had this movement called Tell Somebody. And it wasn't until then that I even admitted on air, before I said it to anybody in my family, that I had an issue where I was touched when I was younger. And my phone was texting and people were calling, family members, and then I said it again this year. And it was like I never said it the first time, because, thank you, all of those calls came back and they took it seriously. Because I think they actually was listening this time. They just thought I said something the first time. This time I told the entire story. And it's just people aren't willing to listen to people. They're not willing
to believe our young black men when they say it. I've been molested as a child, and my family heard it and went on about their life as if I had never said it before. But there have been...
you gonna get over it.
I'm supposed to... And this turns into toxic masculinity that a young woman has to now deal with in the future if I don't. But if my family is so easy to dismiss it, then why wouldn't I dismiss it just as easily?
On that note, we're going to take our last commercial break, and we'll be back to summate this conversation and talk about something that I have coming up. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. The Artist Exchange Radio Show every Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., every Saturday, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Real artist, real talk, real live on BeExposedRadio.com. I was meeting with a friend yesterday, and I've gotten to the point where don't ask me a question because the truth is going to come out. And
exactly.
Just don't do it.
If you ain't looking for the truth, don't come to me.
Don't do it because I can't hold my tongue. And she wants to be this stylist, boutique, but you're not doing anything in that nature, and I can't take you seriously if you're not doing those things. And I understood why people didn't take me seriously, because I found myself in somebody else's lane. I was good at what I was doing and what I wanted to be, but I wasn't doing it for me. So how can I ask you to take me seriously if I'm living in somebody else's shoes?
And nobody can do what you do, and I think that that's a big problem that people face now. Like, you see what somebody else is doing and you want to do that when that's not your lane.
That's not your lane.
That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
But it's popular, it's getting that person money, it's getting that person applause. Oh, I want applause. I want money. Let me stand over here behind them.
And then a lot of times people aren't honest with themselves either. Like, I was thinking earlier today, I've been woke for almost 2 days, so So you get honesty, yes. And I was thinking, like,
The Artist Exchange Radio Show.
Fall into this unknown to find who we really are. Crash into something new. Take a break from our broken heart. Talk with the hip, tell me you lie. I think we should go for another round. Baby, try not to say too much. Let your love come down. If you wanna rule, it's a rules you gotta live by. Live by. Stay true to your cool, make a move. Don't wait on nobody else. And if it feels like a melody, sing a song we my radio.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to the last segment of the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We'll be back this Friday. Well, no, it's this Friday.
It's this Friday.
We won't be here Monday because it's Labor Day, but we'll be back on next Friday, and we'll have a special guest. But I wanted to just run a couple things. What events do you have coming up? Do you have anything coming up? Or?
Yes, I will be in 12 Angry Jurors at the Vagabond Theater. It's opening next Friday, September 6th. Show starts at 8. It's about like an hour show. It's running every weekend in September, so Friday, Saturday at 8, Sunday I think it's matinee at 3. Vagabond Theater down in Fells Point. I also will be in Rapid Lemon Productions' last show of Proxy. That is opening October 16th, and it's running the weekends in October. And then I'm taking a break. I need a break from theater after that.
You can. You gotta keep going.
Well, I mean, just at least a month break because I'm tired of Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. I'm tired.
For the life, this is the life.
I'm tired of doing all this work and getting paid $80 or nothing.
So that's why you were supposed to have a meeting with me, and we haven't had that conversation yet.
Yeah, I haven't had that conversation. He knows where I live. He knows. He just refused.
I like face to face. Y'all millennials, y'all want to text every damn thing. I ain't got time for that. FaceTiming. No, computers aren't there. So I'm gonna say 3 words. Soul Man Soul. This play is a book. It was written about Sam Cooke's life, written by Miss Jocelyn Walls, Miss Joyce Walls. I met this woman under strange circumstances. This summer I did this. I was done with the arts. I was done. I got tired of fat people telling me I was too fat to be a leading man. I got tired of women dismissing me because I wasn't 6'3", 180, light skinned. I didn't sound like Jamal. Oh, I'm not gonna do that. I was about to go in. But this summer, something weird happened. A lady who bought my jewelry, which I was also about to finish, and she asked me, like, please, I saw these earrings you made. Can you make me a pair, please? In the process of me making her these earrings, somebody messaged her. She's like a socialite. A lot of people text her and Facebook her about knowing people. And she sent me a message because she watched what I was doing, and she had came to one of my shows before, and she said, there's an opportunity for you to somebody's looking for a stage manager. And I said, is it paid? She said, yeah, I think it's paid. And in the process of me saying yes, I met this lady at, not Villa Julie. Yeah, Villa Julie, St. Mary's, not St. Mary's, the school next to Loyola, whatever that all-girls college was, right next to Loyola. It doesn't really matter because it's done. So I met her. This is one of the hardest plays that I've ever had to do because this was her first play that she ever wrote. It had about 30 characters in it. The theater space was the size of this room that we're in. Right. But this play got me at the Kennedy Center directing my first show. It also got me an interview on Be Exposed Radio because one of the characters had a radio show here. When I did that show, I was bored out of my mind, and I took over the interview. And the engineer and the station owner asked me, did I ever think about doing my own show? Thank you. And 7 years later, I have a radio show. I haven't totally deserted the arts, and I got to direct a play for the Kennedy Center, Page the Stage annual program, and won a couple awards. But I've been asked to remount this, and I said yes, of course. So we're in the process of editing the book, making it a stronger script. It wasn't the best situation. It was so much that went wrong, but it reminded me of why I love theater so much and why my voice in theater was so important. So we'll be remounting Soul Man Soul. So we won't be here next Friday because you'll be doing your show. And I'll be in New York with Baltimore Fashion Week, the Fashion Week umbrella, with their annual designer debut for New York Fashion Week. And we'll be back probably the following Monday. We have a number of people that are coming through starting in September. If you want to be a guest on the show, please hit us up. And that's it for today.
So I'll be auditioning for the leading role for this.
I don't want to say it, but I don't know about the leading role because you gotta be able to project that voice.
Oh, is that singing?
Yes, all throughout.
Never mind.
But you gonna be in it.
I'll be an extra. I ain't gonna sing.
No, you gonna be in this. But this has been the Artist Exchange Radio Show. We won't be here on Monday. We'll be back the following Monday, the 9th, with Miss Jewel Guy and Dear Black Men. Please come to this. Tune into that show. I'm gonna be promoting. I already started promoting it. And Brother Noble being the show, so we'll add that stuff to the page as well. Next up, the Kitty Cat Cocktail Social. I saw them out there getting juice. So yeah, peace out. That's it.
Like the one thing you always gotta remember